I had an amazing job. I was making six figures. I was working for a really cool tech company that would fly me out to like London, and they would pay for everything. I had a really cool boss who I got along with so well, and we shoot this shit all the time. My company would pay for our meals, happy hours, and they even invested in me by paying for classes I wanted to take in Baruch College. And then something really terrible happened. Her name was COVID. I'm going to be telling you guys a story about how I lost my job, was going nearly broke, went through depression, spiraled, but then found my purpose. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Naily by Nature. I'm your host Naily. On today's episode, I am going to be switching it up a little bit. I know I've been talking about some really intense topics, but today I just want to talk about something that's a little bit lighter. I'm going to be sharing with you guys my roller coaster of emotions in 2020, losing my job, spiraling, going through depression, my little TikTok fame, and how it all led me to getting to a place of finding my purpose. If you're interested, please keep watching. I promise you it's a really good and juicy story. Subscribe, comment, like. I would love to hear from you guys as always. So let's get right into the drama. For about 7 to 8 years, I've been working as an executive assistant to top level executives at major media tech companies. I had a lot of fun. Working in media tech companies is so much more relaxed than working at like a stuffy corporate company. I would never ever jever flever lever dever work for a corporate company where I have to come in wearing a suit and I have to be a certain robotic way. That's just not my style. I want to be able to talk to my boss like I'm a human being and not like I have to like wipe their ass before I kiss it. I made incredible connections in my time working at media tech companies. I made lifelong friends, and you know, I don't really regret my time at all. But to be quite honest, by my second, third year being an EA, the excitement around being executive assistant and like, you know, the perks of working in those industries kind of died out. Well, at least they were slowly dying out. For me, my day-to-day just became so repetitive and I felt like I wasn't being challenged. And so I would leave companies to go to another company to be challenged more, but then I would find out it was the same thing. But the one thing I couldn't stand was the politics in some of these places. There were so many privileged people and so much microaggression. I just was over it. One day I'm gonna do a video on microaggressions because it was real. People are so good at microaggression, and when you're from the Bronx like me, it's just like kind of like, are you trying me? Is that what's happening? Are you trying me? But I stayed as an EA for a few reasons. The first reason is probably the most obvious: financial security. I graduated college with a shit ton of loans, and baby, I had to get them paid. Being broke is no joke. Taking a chance on pursuing my dreams just was not a risk I was willing to take without having financial security. I grew up in the Bronx to struggling immigrant parents, and so the thought of poverty scared the shit out of me. Also, growing up in a Southeast Asian culture, we're just naturally programmed to like find security in everything we do. That's why so many of us end up being doctors, lawyers, and engineers. So yes, I am a disappointment, but mind your business.
Bloody, bloody! Bastard bitch! You bastard!
The second reason I didn't leave my position as an EA was because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to college because I wanted to be a reporter or an anchor woman. I took so many internships in high school and college because I was just so passionate about this. It's something I wanted ever since I was a kid. I love talking about world issues, social issues, and just like connecting with others. But after I graduated and went out to find work, I realized that the starting salary for being a reporter or anchor woman, or even just getting your foot in the door, was like $30,000. Damn! Where was I going to go with $30,000? I couldn't even pay for a monthly MetroCard on that, and there was just no way I was going to be able to pay my student loans. So I gave up on that and became an EA, putting all my dreams to the back burner. Yes, for money. My dad even got George Stephanopoulos to get me a job at ABC, but the job only paid like $7 an hour, and I was just like, I made more as a receptionist working at a car dealership. Anyways, in my 7 to 8 years as an EA, I thought of going into HR because that was the next best thing. But if you don't have the support of your executive, or those departments don't want to have the CEO's assistant be all up in their business, they will shut the door on you. So my opportunities were very limited. Not knowing what I wanted to do kept me stagnant. The third reason I stayed as an EA was because of the lifestyle it provided me. A lot of the reasons why I didn't leave my position as being an EA was because of finances. And for a lot of people, that's the case, especially if you're coming from a household that had limited resources and you didn't have a lot of access to wealth. Being an executive assistant allowed me to do things I never got to do before, like travel. Growing up, my parents never took me and my siblings on vacation. Not because they were evil, but because we were poor and they just couldn't afford it. It was either Disneyland or we were not going to eat for a year. I remember my dad used to bring home these National Geographic.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
I remember my dad used to bring home these National Geographic magazines, and me and my siblings would go through them in awe. And I remember seeing those beautiful places all around the world, and I would tell my parents, like, I'm gonna take you here one day. And I did. Being an executive assistant gave me the means to take my parents to places like Egypt, Morocco, Bali, and so many other places. I have no regrets. It also gave me the means to have nice things. When I was growing up, my family really struggled. We had limited resources, and so I had a lot of hand-me-downs, and so obviously I was bullied as a kid because I didn't have nice things. I was also able to help my parents buy a house. These were all accomplishments. Although I didn't find passion or purpose in what I was doing, my job allowed me to have a life I always dreamed of.
Yes, I did that. And you would do it too for a check. I was an employee. And I was going to get Employee of the Month. And that's on period.
So how did losing my job galvanize me into finding my purpose? So I lost my amazing, beautiful, perfect job during the pandemic. And so my immediate response was to apply for another EA job. And here's a little background information. This was actually the third job I lost in a year.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Thankfully, it was no fault of my own. The first 2 jobs I lost was because the executive got fired, and so my job was just like not necessary anymore. And then obviously this last job, the pandemic hit, and so the company just packed up and went back to the UK. Losing your job 3 times is traumatic as to me, it was not a coincidence. You mix how I was feeling about finding purpose and my lack of interest in being an EA. This to me was a sign. The way I took it was the universe is telling me I have to move on. But to what? For months, I desperately applied to EA jobs. Then I found TikTok. Here's where things get a little juicy. I randomly one day started posting videos about politics. My videos started to go viral. Each week, I was gaining about like 1,000 followers. My views were anywhere between a few thousand to almost 1 million. I was legit killing it. And best of all, it was so effortless. I was talking about things that I found important, things that were happening around the world, things that were happening in our country that I thought was worth talking about. And it kind of brought me back to my internship days and my desire to wanting to be a reporter. I really felt like a TikTok reporter, educating the youth. My streak of good luck went on for 2 to 3 months. And then some crazy shit went down. I had really crazy stalkers, and it got so bad that I had to actually get the police involved. At this point, I just stopped posting for a while, but it continued. And then after a couple of months, I just took down all my social media. I think everything was happening all at once, and I was going through other personal shit, and I just needed to like shut down and just like take some space, collect myself, and just kind of like go through depression all alone. It was really difficult because it was like I finally found something I was good at, which gave me purpose, and then it was just taken away. I had a whole existential crisis. So what now was all that I could think of? Better go back to being an EA. At this point, I was no longer getting any callbacks from companies. My inbox used to be filled with recruiters, and suddenly they all just disappeared. During those 2 to 3 months of my TikTok career, yes, I am going to call it my TikTok career, I made so many great connections. I had some huge influencers follow me. Some even reached out personally. I also met business owners who requested for me to model their jewelry. And I met a young woman woman who started her own nonprofit called Children of 1971. Having to take down all my social media on top of losing my job and now not being able to find work really caused me to spiral. Plus the added on problems I had going on in my personal life just made me feel like I had lost complete control. One day, the young woman who started the nonprofit reached out to me. She was following up on a call I canceled on because at the time I was really going through it. So I decided why not? It was the best decision I made. We ended up clicking right away and she offered me a position as a mentorship program manager.
Oh my God! Wow!
The job didn't pay, but it gave me the purpose and fulfillment I was looking for. I also had nothing going on and nothing stopping me. So I jumped right in and started working on this program, building it from the ground up. Taking this leap of faith in starting a new job where I was contributing something to my community helped me to start feeling good. I started proactively getting myself out of depression and I quickly dug myself out. I started thinking of more ways to help people. And that's when I started this YouTube channel. I have made an egregious amount of mistakes in my life. I have an abundance of embarrassing stories, and I have learned remarkable lessons from them all. It would be a crime to not share these stories and help others.
I know that's right.
I wanted to tell my story in a way that people would feel relatable. I started this YouTube channel literally like 5 days ago, and I don't know if I'll make it or if I'll fail, but at least I'll know that I tried. Working on this mentorship program and launching my YouTube channel has allowed me to feel like I'm my own boss. It helped me realize my power. Those 7 to 8 years working for the man taught me that I wanted to be the woman. These 2 projects that I'm working on does not pay, but I feel fulfilled, energized, and motivated. I wake up these days feeling like I have purpose. In the 7 to 8 years working as an EA, I never woke up feeling that way. Do you know people who can work countless hours doing their job because they truly love it? I want that feeling, and I truly do believe that the money will come. I don't know when or how, but I trust the process. Just like how I knew I had purpose, one of the things I was low-key afraid of was that people I know were going to be laughing at me. But honestly, fuck those people. I played it safe for 7 to 8 years of my life. And what's ironic is that my job wasn't even safe. I was disposable, just like anybody else who works at any company in any industry. The brutal truth is most big companies do not give a shit about their employees. If a company needs to lay people off so that their high-level executives can get their bonuses, guess what? They're going to lay you off. And they don't care that you have a family or you just bought a house or you just got married. I think that's what made me so sick of working in these types of environments. I felt like there was so much greed and that type of energy just doesn't feel good. Time after time, I watch people throw other people under the bus to save their own ass. Time after time, I watch people of color get overlooked for promotions because a senior executive had a friend that they wanted to refer. I'm sure there's politics in almost every industry, even the nonprofit, which is why working for myself is an option I'm taking really seriously. There are going to be some people who laugh at you and discourage you, but those people live simple 9-to-5 jobs, never taking chances and always living in fear. For nearly a decade, the fear of money ruled a lot of the decisions I made about my life. And so I changed my perception about money, and I realized there's an abundance of money everywhere. So many creative and brilliant people I know work jobs that they are so much better than because it provides security. And I get it. When you grow up poor, it's a type of feeling you don't ever want to go back to. But money will come in and out of your life. And when your time comes, you will know. Just like me losing my job 3 times in a year and not being able to find another job for another year, it is no coincidence. Maybe I'll succeed, maybe I won't, but I'll never know if I don't try. Right now, so many of us are at home doing nothing. So you might as well just try something you've never done before. You just might kill it. Anyways, I hope my story was entertaining. If it wasn't, you watched it to the end, so I got your view. Subscribe, comment, and like. You would be doing God's work, and I'll see you soon.